speak tonight, Dave?
We've got the Mad Snooker. Captain Dave is here tonight. We're going to get him up here.
So I've been fighting for a while. This gentleman was one of the first speakers that I asked to come speak for the club. Captain Ray was there then. Phil Whitehouse is in the house as well back there. But he told me at that point he just turned 40. When I called him this year to speak, he told me he just turned 60. So he's been with the organization for a long time. We're very grateful for having him up here tonight, come all that way. Yeah?
You must have been really young.
I was. I didn't have hip balls in either.
Well, when I first heard about Captain Dave, people would tell me, man, he takes you out at night and he'll guarantee you just fish till you drop. He'll fish all night long till you drop. You're going to catch 100 snook. And I've always wanted to do it. Haven't had a chance to do it. I know he's down south right now, and I think I'll probably get out there this year and do it. So, without further ado.
Is it working? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I turned 60, yeah.
You're young, buddy.
I'm looking for the fountain of youth. Anybody knows where it's at? All right. Yeah, I've been snook fishing now since I was about barely 9 years old. I caught my first snook when I was 9. It was 22 pounds. My third cast ever going snook fishing. I was standing on my dock at Heron Lagoon, and my next door neighbor wrote the book, How to Fish for Snook, by Earl Dowd. He came walking out on the dock and he goes, "What are you doing, Dave?" I said, "I'm fishing, sir." He said, "Let me see that thing." And he grabs my boat, 202, or 404, whatever it was. And he looks at it and he goes, "You got squid, you got pink diamond, little pink beads and diamond sinkers." And he goes like this. He broke it over his leg and walked up and threw the trash can. I'm going, "Oh, God." Broke my rod. And he hands me this. And I'm not talking like one like it. This actual rod and reel. It was brand new. Yeah. And he's got a 7-foot Shakespeare Wonder rod with a Mitchell 300. And this actual Wild Willie jig, he gave me about 100 of them over the years. But this was the first setup and the very first lure that I ever caught a snook on. So I had never done anything but push with a push button. So he worked with me on a spinner, and it was all over the place. It wasn't good. Finally got to where I could do it. He asked the question, "I can take you snook fishing tonight." Okay. We went down to Sarasota, down to the end of Midnight Pass Road, Midnight Pass, when it was open. And on my first cast went, and my second cast was hit the water. My first one wasn't good. My third one went out. And he said, "Now let this thing just be in the Wild Willie jig." He said, "Let it go to the bottom." And he says, "As it's sweeping out, remember what I told you? Every time that thing hits, you feel it tap the bottom, pull it." And I'm just letting this thing just drift out the pass. And all of a sudden it went boom. He said, he reached over like this and he ripped it up really hard. And I was hooked up. And it was ripping and ripping and ripping drag. And he stood next to me and I'm holding the rod, just going, this thing's just bowed over like, because it's a buggy whip. And you can see it's a buggy whip. It was bowed over, the line was ripping, he said, "Don't touch the drag." And this went on and went on and went on and went on. And finally I get to the thing and he said, "Walk backward." And he had me, he pumped it up and he'd go, "Now reel." And I drop it and I drop where he dropped the hand down and I just reel. He goes, don't reel. He pump it up. He goes, "Reel." He was teaching me how to pump it, not turn the line into a curlicue. And finally, I see something rolling in front of me. He goes, "Back up." I'm backing up the beach. And he goes down into the water and he goes, and he grabs this thing and it just kept coming. It was 22 pounds. 41-inch snook, first snook I ever caught. It was the night that ruined my life. Oh, I was done. I was hooked. I got snook fever. I would crawl in my bedroom window on school nights to go snook fishing. I'd be riding my bike all over town. The cops would be like, "There goes Dave. They have school tomorrow, right?" I go, can't tell you how many nights my prom night, I dropped her off at like 10 o'clock. I went home, got out of my monkey suit from snook fishing. I was done. She was being a pain. I said, I'm going snook fishing. All I did was snook fish, snook fish, snook fish, snook fish. And then one day, many years ago, I started taking people with my pickup truck, running up and down. I lived in St. Petersburg, and we would drive my truck from St. Pete as far down as Naples in one night, hit 100 spots, hit 50 on the way back, and about halfway back, I look over and they're like this. They got baby head, they're falling asleep. All right, he's done. I'm gonna hit 75, get this guy would come back. But on an average night on those land charters, we get 70 to 100 snook a night. Ray, you've been with me twice, long time ago. Like 30 years ago, what, we get like 100 snook that night?
You can't even explain it. I try to explain it to my son about it. He's trying to get to the son. It's just, yeah, amazing.
Well, but one of the crazy things I did with Ray, and I used to do with my charters, we would walk out on the bridge. Now, this is before the boat. We walk out on the bridge, and now we're out in the draw like this. And you're looking out this way, about 150 feet out, 40, 50 feet down, but 150 feet, 200 feet out. At the end of the bridge fender, there'll be the fender light. And under the fender light, there'll be 50, 60 snook facing into the tide. I'd go, all right, you stand here. All right, lower the bait down to me. He goes, what? I go, I'm down the ladder. He lowers the bait down to me. Now I said, walk to the middle of the bridge. He's walking to the middle of the bridge. I go, give me a line, give me a line, give me a line. Now meanwhile, I'm walking out the end of the fender like this with his bait in the water. I'm walking like a ninja. I'm standing on the fender. And I go, when I clap my hands, fight the fish, and I go, boom, I set hook in my hand, he fight the fish. So he's up in the middle of the bridge fighting the fish, I'm down, I'm walking back toward the bridge. I walk him over to me, I walk him over, and if he's too big, I just break him off the bottom hook and let him go. We catch 30, 40 snook, and I do it now. It was crazy, I got hooked. I've been snook fishing up and down both coasts of Florida now for, going on almost 52 years now. Yeah, and then 52 years between myself and everybody I've taken, I'm about 400,000 snook. What? Yeah, about 10,000 snook a year is average. I snook fish all the time. I mean, I'm going constantly, and you can see from my great tan, I only do it at night. Why people ask me, why do you do it at night? Well, Ray Markham can tell you, water's busy in the daytime, isn't it? Yeah. Nighttime is when the snook are more active. Snook are lethargic, lazy, stubborn son of a guns. They do not like to chase. They don't like to chase a meal. They like to set up in a Burger King drive-thru, waiting for the meal, for the tide to be brought. The tide will bring the meal to them. So they set up in these feeding stations where they don't have to do anything. They lay behind some pilings. They lay behind some rocks. They lay up in the structure. All they got to do is lay there next to a pile of rocks, and the bait's coming down with the tide, and they just pop their tail. They go out, boom. They go right back down and be lazy. They're probably the laziest fish there is. You ever notice how fast a mahi-mahi grows or a cobia grows? Really fast. What also comes with growing really fast? Being really stupid. They don't think, they just do. You know, a redfish, you see a redfish in the dock, like you throw the shrimp over and you go like that, he just eats it. I always say, like, the redfish is a bulldog. He's strong. He's really strong. He can outfight a snook. But he has no method to his madness. A redfish will just go. He has no snook. You hook a snook, he'll go, watch this. Go around piling one, wrap you around two, cut you off, three, come back, high fins, say, look, I got two tonight, how many did you get? I mean, they're smart. If you remember Charlie McCarthy and Mortimer Snurd, the ventriloquist, okay, Charlie was a snook, Mortimer was the redfish. You know, and I've caught thousands and thousands of redfish, but I never enjoyed them like I did with the snook. You gotta pay attention to the calendar. Calendar will dictate everything. Wintertime, snook are in. Springtime, they're coming out. Summer, they're out on the beaches, the passes, the inlets. Fall, they're kind of making their way back in. And all of that can change, you know, it's all based on temperature for the time of year. Right now, we're headed back toward fall a little bit, and as we head back toward fall, it'll water will start to cool, those snook will start to make their way back in. A basic snook tackle, something like this. This is good all-around snook tackle. Got a nice 7-foot rod with a band stall on here. I don't like to hand some of like the kids that come on board a band stall because that doesn't go well sometimes. And one guy got on the boat, and I hands this to his kid, he goes, "You throw it over." The kid just threw the whole rod and reel over. And I went, man, he took you literal. You did tell him to throw it over. I can't get mad at that. He listened to you. But this is a good standard setup. 15 to 20 pound braid, 30 pound fluorocarbon leader, tied it with a double uni, or whatever you prefer. I don't know why the pink jigs work so darn good, but I've caught more snook on pink jigs than any other jig there is. Goofy pink jigs. I've probably caught 30 on this one alone. But this is a good setup for what I call snook. In my world, there's 3 kinds of snook. There's snook, there's snook, and there's snook. A snook is anything from 18 to 24, 26 inches. A snook is 26 to 36, that's a nice snook. A snook is a whole different animal. You got, I call them, a mega snook. Anything over like 40, 44, 47, 48 inches. My biggest snook was 49.5 inches, and it was 45 pounds. I beat the state record with that fish in 1995. But you certainly don't catch Snookosaurus rex with this. You'll get her attention for like 3 seconds, and she'll go, gone. When you're getting into like 36, 34, 36 inch snook, you need something more like this. Sit still, we do. Oh, that's good too. Something like this. 40 pound braid, 50 pound braid, 60 pound leader. This is a spool tech. Everybody is familiar with spool tech? It's really cool. You whip these things out there, you let them go to the bottom, and then you just slow crank them along the bottom. And when they thump it, you set the hook like you're trying to break the rod, and then the hook deploys away like this. The hook's on a little spool inside. And so it doesn't have the leverage to throw the lure. Like a regular jig, a lot of times with a regular jig, they shake their head and throw it. This thing gets up and it works. That's called spool tech, but this is for like the 34 to 36 inch size fish, 40, 42. But when you get much over like 42, they start to, when snook get 42, 44 inches, 46 inches, they stop growing this way, and they start growing this way. And they get big, big, big. Did we get a big one that night, Ray? You got a monster, didn't you? Oh yeah, well, when they start getting really, really big, and you start using much, much bigger bait, sorry, then I start going with something like this. That's equivalent to about a 14,000. That's 80 pound braid with 80 pound fluorocarbon leader. And the smallest bait I'm going to use on that would be an equivalent to a live mullet, about that big, or maybe a little couple inches longer. Or I'll use a live ladyfish about that big, up to about 18 inches long. And when I'm using bait like this, a big live mullet like this, a lot of times we'll pull up to the structure, and I need that mullet to stay in the strike zone. So if we're walking a seawall for landfish, and I need that mullet to stay in the structure, and sometimes you'll hook it in the peck, or you'll hook it in the nose, and it just throw it under there, under the structure, under the dock, under wherever you're at, and all of a sudden it comes screaming out. You're like, doesn't like it there. Try it again, flip it back up under the structure, I'm shooting back out. Take it like this, pop it off the seawall, and flip it back up under the structure. Now when you get a hit on a live ladyfish or a live mullet 14 inches long, that's a different kind of hook set. That's try to break the rod hook set. You really hard. Sometimes if you're standing on a jetty and you're using a big 9-foot rod, you can do a jetty set like this. And you get a big long stroke on it. I know that sounds extremely crazy, but I've got about 350 snook over 30 pounds to my credit, and 3 of them over 40 pounds. And every one of those almost exclusively was on a big heavy hook set with a big live bait. I got several dozen. I got about does it on over 30 pounds on spool deck. But most of my big snook come on big live bait. Big mullet, especially. I love big mullet, about that big. Big live mullet. If you're, the size of the hook, I choose the size of the hook based on the size of the bait. If I'm using live shrimp, I like a size 2 bronze hook. I don't want a big 3 or 4 chrome hook inside of a shrimp's head. There's no chrome unicorn shrimp sitting around the tank. People go, where do you hook the shrimp? I go, I hook them in the horn. Oh, why don't you hook them in the tail? I've never seen a shrimp moonwalk. I don't see shrimp swimming backwards. Let them flow with the tide, let them go, let them drift. With a shrimp, all of a sudden you get that, the shrimp might click, poof, and really you're slack, you can pull light. You get a pinfish. Now, there's no pinfish rights activists. We haven't done that for you yet, have we? Let's get that. You look at the live well with a flashlight, you blind the pinfish, you scoop him out with the net, you got him, you put a hook in his back or his nose, and boom, you flip him out there. What's a pinfish do? He goes right to the bottom. He's looking for something to hide, so he goes running to the bottom. You throw him in a snook spot that's loaded with snook, and he gets down there, he sees the snook, and the snook sees the pinfish, and the pinfish becomes a living rattle trap. The snook goes, he gets down there, and the snook, you can almost watch it like a crazy play. The pinfish goes, uh-oh, the snook goes, like boom, boom, Washington, hi there. Boom, fangs come out, and he goes at him. And he's chasing him down, you feel him running, get nervous. When he gets nervous, don't pull back on a nervous bait. I would say bow to the, hail to the queen, bow to the queen. Go. Also, boom. With that one, you go, boom. When you get them on, keep the pressure on. And I see a lot of people try to grind it. I'm sure none of you do, you fish enough. But they try to grind it in with the reel. Pull back, and the reel as you're going down. Pull back, the reel as you're going down. But always, if the fish is pulling to the left, pull the fish to the right. If the fish is pulling to the right, pull the fish to the left. Because he's got a plan. He's going somewhere for a reason. Also, if you got friends in the boat with you, right? And we're fishing with a jig like this, and you got your buddies in the boat, and they're standing to your left, maybe right over here. And you got a fish over there, and you're pulling it like this. Well, that fish jumps, this is where that jig is going. Right where you got it aimed. Right in their face. So, that's the only time to break that rule. Regardless of which way the fish is going, when it comes up, be thinking where, but by the geometry of the whole thing, where is that lure going to end up if it comes out of that fish's mouth? And oftentimes, well, I can't tell you how many times I've been hit. I've had them hanging off of me, I've had them bounce off of me. I've had guys on the boat go like this. I always say drinking and fishing don't mix. Two brothers on the boat. One guy's on this side of the boat, one guy's on the other side of the boat. The brother was like that, while the other brother was relieving himself and buried the hook right in the end of you know what. And then pulled again. Yeah. I didn't know a man could hit that soprano note. No, he didn't go 3 times. He goes, what are you screaming about? He goes, you don't know what's in my head. And I went around like that. Oh! So, true story. That was the end of that trip. We were done. He got a Prince Albert, we were done. Craziness, I know. When they show up with that much alcohol, I know to get paid before we leave the dock. And I did that with those guys, since I was a lot of alcohol. I used to run around up and down all over. I mean, I fished St. Pete Beach, Clearwater Pass, Tarpon Springs. We'd go all the way to Dunedin Causeway, Honeymoon Island, Three Rooker. I could be in Naples the next night, all over in Miami fishing with Dave Justice 2 nights later. I put 443,000 miles on one truck in 7 years, snook fishing. My little red Nissan pickup, they called it the Snook Mobile. So we're standing at the Captain Cosmenco's. We're standing at, do you remember Captain Cosmenco's by Blind Pass? Yeah, they used to have a little Woody's Bar. There was Woody's Bar and there was a condo. If you come in Blind Pass and now you're headed north toward the Blind Pass Bridge, there was Woody's Bar, and then there was another restaurant up on stilts, and then there was a condo. What's that?
It's called Burgess.
Burgess, okay. Well, the condo. So my friend Min says to me, Dave, the other night, I looked over the wall and there was this huge snook, so I climbed over the wall and I hooked like 6 of them and I couldn't stop any of them. And I said, well, show me where. And I go, you know, the wall, Tom? He goes, yeah. So we went back with a Calcutta cane pole, took a live strip about that big, put it on straight 80, and I go, watch this. And he's standing over here and I go, stepped on the pole, went like that, and I hit, it came flying in totally green, hit me in dead in the chest. He and the snook went into the swimming pool. 3 o'clock in the morning, condo lights coming on, snook splashing around the pool, men's flying out of the pool, screaming and laughing. I snatched the snook out of the pool, we jump over the fence, we hit the pole, he's running to the car, to the truck with the snook like this, and we took off, and 3 minutes later, coming the other way was Reds and Blues coming to get us. We weren't there. That's the kind of craziness we did going after snook. Tides are important. People ask, what's the best tide? Moving. I don't care if it's coming in or going out. I want moving water. I want it moving. Dead slack tide, it can work. It can work, but it's not as good. I remember John's Pass for me. I always enjoyed John's Pass for me. It was always better on the incoming. Just was. I had more luck. I always had better luck at blind pass at the change of the tide. I would stand at blind pass throwing these pink, the cute little pink jigs. My buddies always called them, oh, those are nice, Dave. And I go, hey, it worked. I would throw these stuffed little glass bead in here, and we would throw these out in the middle of the pass, let them go to the bottom, and jerk them back in really slow. Just thumping snook after snook after snook. We'd catch 30 snook on a tide change. Most of them were 14 to 18 pounds was average. And the whole time we're doing it, we got people standing behind us at Woody's just cheering us on. And they're like, they keep wanting to see what I was throwing. And I pop it out, go like that. I wouldn't let them see it. They got mad at me. One guy tried to push me over one night there. He was so mad at me because I wouldn't show him I was using. We go down to Paso Grill. We used to fish Paso Grill. Paso Grill is best for me on an outgoing tide. I would wait at the end of Paso Grill, and then you got these docks, and the docks that stick down there at the end of Paso Grill. And when you go down to Paso Grill, you just flip the bait way out and let it drift and let it come around. And you follow it. And just follow the bait. All of a sudden you'll feel it get nervous, get nervous. Boom, boom. And, you know, match the size of the hook according to the size of the bait. If you're using a live shrimp, 2 of them. If you're using a live pinfish, 3 to a 4-aught hook. I'll use a silver hook with pinfish and threadfin, whitebait. If I'm using a live ladyfish or a mullet, I'll probably be fishing about a 7 to an 8-0. The reason I fish with a 7 or 8-0, I've had 9-0s, 9174 9-0 mustads, locked down 100 with 150 leaders. Standing on a bridge in West Palm Beach, on Flagler Bridge, with sand perch that big, that tall, 2.5 pound sand perch for bait. Plug hook to pop the air bladder, hold them upside down. You drop them down behind those massive pilings and they're going out on that outgoing tide. You feel them get chased with a 4-aught. All of a sudden go, boom! Bam! And I can't hit them. And I've had them pull so hard, that lockdown 4-aught with the new conversion kit was not holding it. It was just ripping. All of a sudden, came flying back, and that 9174 was opened up. And that was a snook. I saw it. It came up and it had a mouth you could stick a volleyball in. It was just huge. I got a picture of my biggest snook I ever caught was that 45 pounder. I have a picture of my whole head in its mouth. And it fit even after I caught it. I've never had an ego about snook fishing. Trust me, if I could go back and do it all over again, I would probably tell old Danny, thanks for breaking my rod, I'm good. I didn't go to college, you know, I never got a real serious job. I just snook fish. Finally turned into a job. What happened was I used to go, when I was doing those land charters for a long time, they had me up to Homeport Marina, to that fishing group up there, and I met a couple guys up there, and they said, Dave, I hear this land fishing trip you do is crazy. And I went, all right, I'll take it. We caught like 80 snook that night from land. They said, you know, Dave, could you do this out of a boat? I said, sure. They go, we got a nice little flats boat. Let's take that a couple nights from now. We'll try it again. So we towed it down to Sarasota. We put it in the water. I just took over. They go, Dave, you need flashlight? I'm good. I know where I'm at. Oh, they're just like, oh. We went from spot to spot to spot. We caught about 70, 80 snook that night in a boat. They said, Dave, you need to be doing this out of a boat. Tell you what, you get a captain's license in Jim and I are gonna buy you a boat. We're gonna buy you a boat. Yeah, we'll even buy you a new pickup truck to pull it with. I was a young kid. You're gonna buy me a boat and truck? He said, yep. So about 4 months later, I finally got my captain's license. I had mounted up enough hours and I was going like crazy yet. I got my captain's license, they bought me a boat, they bought me a truck. And that's when the complicated thing started, that damn boat. Yeah, you break out another 1,000. I started to learn what that meant. But the snook calendar, out on the beaches, you want white bait, you want some of your best artificial out there is DOA Terrorize, DOA Bait Buster. I love those baits on the beach. The Terrorize is a great beach bait. That's a summertime thing, spring, a little bit of early fall. My favorite bait in the wintertime is a live shrimp. I love live shrimp in the wintertime. There's just something about an outgoing tide with a live shrimp. And there's certain feeding stations you can pull up to with a live shrimp, just flip it up tide and just bring it along nice and slow. And second hits the feeding station, boom, you're on every cast for 3 hours. You just catch them. And if you're not into a snook, you're into a target. If you cast to the left, you'll get a target. If you cast right, you get a snook. But it's just, there's all these feeding stations that are crucial. They're Burger King drive-thrus. They're always going to be around structure. They're going to be around a bridge. You saw all this, right? It was feeding stations. A feeding station is a bridge. We were out one night. My friend Bruce and I, who drove up with me in the night, right there. Bruce and I were out, one of many of our adventures, and he had how big was your ladyfish, Bruce? About 18, 19 inches. And I go, Bruce, just flip it out there, and the tide was coming toward this bridge. And he's standing in about shin deep water, and he just toward the bridge, and you could see, right as soon as that ladyfish got in front of that shadow line, it went, boom, boom, all of a sudden, boom. And Bruce went, boom, and he hit him, and you had 100-pound test with one
80-pound test and 120 liter.
Yeah, 120 liter, 80-pound test. He had the drag locked down. This snook pulled so hard that 2 times he fell down, like face first, and just pulled him over. His feet were stuck in the sand. And how long was that snook?
51.
51 inches. Yeah, I got a picture of it in my phone over there. He got a 51-inch snook. That's a big snook. My biggest was 49.5. Mine was bigger this way than his. His was still a massive snook. And the funniest part, we went to the taxidermist to try to order one, and the taxidermist goes, I don't have a blank that big. I don't have a blank that big. So he's got a beautiful mount on the wall, but it's not as big as the one he got. But oh well. Anybody here ever not caught a snook? Anybody? No, nobody. Everybody's caught snook. You haven't caught one? Oh, okay. These guys will fix that quick. So everybody asks me, where do you get the monster snook? Where do you get the big snook? Where are the trophies? That's what everybody wants. Everybody goes, I want to join the 40-inch. I want to join the 40-inch club. What's that? Yeah. Where are the monsters? I want to join the 40-inch club. Well, I tell everybody a 40-inch snook is nice. It's not a monster. Monster's when you get 30 pounds. That's a monster. 30 pounds. 40-inch snook is about a 22-pound snook that's fat. 46-inch snook just stopped going, it just started growing this way, bulging out. A 46-inch snook, if it's fat, it's going to usually weigh 34 to 38 pounds. 46 inches is a huge snook. Back in the day when I caught my first snook, my 22-pounder, I was hooked. I didn't want these little tiny ones. I wanted the big ones. So I started studying the best guys around who caught the biggest snook, and I watched what they did. And all I tried to do was just come up with new ways to improve it. One night, Earl Downey and I were standing at the Venice Jetty, and mullet, about the size of this thing, were coming around the point. They were coming around the point on the South Jetty, and they were getting blown up. And he goes, those are tarpon, Dave. Those are tarpon. I go, no, those are snook. I have 14 years old. I got good eyes, and I took a little 5-6 foot little cheap cast net, and I walked down the rock, and I threw it, and I got half a dozen mullet about that big, and I threw them right into the doggone bucket with a couple of those little red bubble boxes. And I walked back up. I got the heaviest pole we had out of the truck. At the time, it was a Long Beach, imagine this little bitty Long Beach 60 with 60-pound model straight. That's all we had. I put a hook on, I nose hooked that mold, I flipped it around the corner, and it came around that corner. And I got a 33-pound snook. And we weighed it in a hoop net, and on his goofy scale he carried with us, and it said 33 pounds, and he was like, give me a damn mullet. And that night he said the student became the teacher. He said, I didn't believe those were snook, I thought they were retarded. But then it was like, way back, if you caught a monster snook, anybody remember Field and Stream magazine? Yeah, well, if you caught a huge fish of damn near any kind, you take a picture, you send in $1, and they send you back a little hat pin, or whatever you want to call it. And here's mine. I sent this one in when I was 14. On the back, it says Field and Stream Honor Badge, and it says 36 pounds on the back. I sent. This one is, I've had this one since I was 14 years old. So 46 years I've had this. This is 36 pounds on the back, and I'll guard it with my life. But I got my inspiration from this to create the Mad Snooker 40-inch club, which is being revised to the new badge, Monster Club. But that came from the Field and Stream Honor Badge. That's where I got the idea, and I had a company make 500 of these, and I only got about 100 left. I managed to get rid of it. In 7 years, I've managed to get rid of about 440-inch club pins. And when these 500 are gone, I'll make new ones. But anywho, so if you want to get big snook, I recommend heavy structure. Use a big bait. Use heavy tackle. Don't go after. Don't go ahead, Ray. But no. I've always used a single, like 8-0 right through the nose. That's just. I haven't tried to stinger rig on it, but I guess I could. That would work. But when you're trying to catch really big snook, use a big live bait. Use a big artificial, like a spool tag, like this crazy mullet thing here. If you're catching small snook and you're having fun, that's great. You don't want to hold them by their bottom lip. You don't want to support a big snook by their bottom lip. It'll kill them. Try not to handle them with dry hands. Don't let them flop around on the concrete. If you take the slime and the scales off the side of the snook, you'll actually leave them susceptible to infection. So it's best to leave that slime and the scales on. You don't want to flop it on the concrete. You don't want to flop it on the dock. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of photos, footlockers of photos, and I looked through some of those just in the last couple of weeks on that rain. And there were so many pictures of us holding giant snook straight up and down like this. I'm like, oh. But they're all really old photos. We quit doing that like over 20 years ago. But let me see.
David, what's the purpose of, we all know, to care for a fish when you catch it, to show it the respect and to try to get it back, especially those big breeders. The big breeders it's up in the upper 30s, 40-inch class as a female, as I understand the world. What's the purpose of that jog rabbit? It's sure enough is the easiest way to sell it. You get one in your coat and one in the right picture. Talk to us about why not.
Well, what I've been told by the people, I've done a lot of capturing snook for Moe Marine Hatcher. A lot of it. I've been doing it with them for like almost 25 years. So we wondered about that. So we brought in 7 snook that were all over 40 inches one night. I caught at New Pass in Sarasota. We brought them in with a boat, a 300-gallon tank and a mullet boat. We pulled the boat up. We carried 2 of them. We anesthetized them, which means we put like a little sleepy juice in there. We brought them to the top. We took a hole punch on the top dorsal fin on 2 of those fish. We took the then Boca grip and we carried those to the tank. Carried them with a Boca grip. We carried the other ones with a hoop net, like a musky cradle. The musky cradle, it's a cradle, the fish cradle. The 2 that we carried by the bottom lip within 3 weeks starved to death. When they did an autopsy, they found out that their jaws had been sprained, the muscles and the ligaments were so sprained, they couldn't pop the jaw to feed anymore. So what it does is it strains and sprains their, it's only on the big heavy ones. Little ones, you can still do it. 8, 10 pounder, you can probably still do it. But you get in those 20-pound fish, you start holding them by the boca grip, you sprain their jaws. Same thing with barramundi. Those barramundi in Orlando that they have in those ponds, same thing. They hold them by the bottom lips, they die. And the barramundi guys have found that out in Australia. The barramundi and the snook are cousins. The giant Nile perch is a cousin of the snook. There are actually 12 species of snook. People didn't know that. There's 4 of them, and 4 of them is 12 worldwide. I have the article at home, but there's 4 of them in Florida. There's the fat snook, the sword spine, the tarpon snook, and the common snook. I caught all 4 of them. I caught 3 of them in one night at a bridge in Venice. We got a sword spine, a tarpon, and a bunch of commons. But they're still around. Spillways are good places when it's raining like this. It's raining really, really hard. You don't have a lot of spillways around here. You got some dams. Park Street, where that is, Park Avenue, that dam up there. What's that?
Park Boulevard.
Park Boulevard, there's a dam there. That's a pretty darn good place. It's not going to train hard.
I went with FWC one time to do a stocking in Lake Seminole.
Yep,
Just snook that big in there.
in Lake Seminole.
They
Yep.
they can't spawn in fresh water.
No.
They get fed.
There's some.
It's still by Home Depot there. On the north side of the road, it's still.
Ray, when you and I used to live in Pelican Sound 30 years ago, there was a pipe that fed into those ponds. And those snook got in there when they were this big and they got trapped. And we were catching 40-plus-inch snook in the pond. We catch a bass one cast and then catch a 40-inch snook the next in the pond. Yeah. Well, let's make this real educational as we can real quick. Pay attention to the tide, pay attention to the moon. People ask me, when's the best time to go fishing? When you have time. But if you can pick it, if you can pick the right time, pay attention to the tides and the moon. You got moon over, that's a major. Moon under is a major. Your minors are rise and set. If you can time it where you're gonna have an hour and a half before the moon's over, another hour and a half after the moon's over, and that little 3-hour window right there, that's a good time to go. Friday, you got a good tide, but usually when you got a big moon, you got big tides. So you've got the barometer right. If you get change of the wind, weather, barometric pressure's going up and down, that's good. High steady barometer with no clouds in the sky and no wind, bright full moon, that's the kiss of stubborn snook. That's locked on. You got a 30-mile-an-hour wind, and you got lightning 20 miles away, and there's a lot of the barometer's moving. And you don't want to be standing there with a 7-foot graphite lightning rod in your hand during a lightning storm, but you yeah, au contraire, right?
Barometers tick every day at sunrise.
Yes, it does. But always try to fish changing the barometer if you can. Pay attention to the tide. Go on moving water, incoming, outgoing. The stronger the tide, usually the better the snook fishing. Go ahead. Top water fishing? Yes, top water. I do top water. I like Sarah spooks, Sarah puppies. I like to do a top water. The big mistake I see people make when they're doing top water, they're walking the dog. Usually doing it too fast, they're doing too much with the rod. I like to pause it. That's when the bigger ones hit. Stop it. And pause it. Now, if you see a wake, looking like Jaws coming behind it, slow it down a little bit. You got to make her make a decision. She has to make a decision. She chases up and you slow it. She'll come up to it, she'll go, she's either going to burn and burn, or she's going to pop it. But the thing you want to do when they hit a top water is wait till you feel the actual weight of the fish. Wait till you feel the weight of the fish. I've got charters where we caught 70 snook on strictly top water on a full moon night. So the best time to fish in top water is at night with a full moon. That's about the best time to work. During the big bright moons, top waters do work. Places you want to fish around here, I mean, I fished around here for a long time. I did really, really good in John's Pass. I did great Clearwater Pass. Passagrill, Bunce's Pass, Blind Pass, we caught a lot of snook. Then the 2010 freeze, when that hit, that was my cue to get out of Pinellas and move down to Sarasota. The freeze was hard. The red tides were really, really hard up here. Red tides were hard down there, but when that 2010 freeze, the snook fishing up here for a couple of years was pretty bad. It was bad, really bad. Has it rebounded pretty good?
They're strong. It's not back to those numbers, David, but there's a good population. There's a lot of big fish.
Yeah.
There's a lot of big fish. There's a lot of upper 30s, low 40s.
Yeah, that's the thing of it is that, you know, those freezes and red tides, it makes the species stronger. Because the ones that survive are usually the ones with the tougher gene pool, the tougher genetics. But anybody have any questions fired at me?
You ever do fly?
I do fly fishing. I just had a guy from that was like a fly fishing world champion up in Alaska. He came down and caught 85 snook in like 6 hours on the fly. Yeah, cool. Oh, thank you. Well, I like it. He was, it's articulated. Cool. I like it. We caught, what he was using Clouser minnows, and he had this amazing ability to take a fly rod sideways. And he flipped a fly 10, 12 feet under a dock and disappeared. That thing would roll out. He would do that last little roll out, go up under the dock and go 1, 2, and he was on. I never, I'm going to do it backwards. This guy he was a nut. I've taken Stu out, and I took Stu out to do a TV show with Fly. I've done fly lessons with Lefty Craig. I sat there fly fishing right next to Jose Wahebe way back in the day. I teased him, I said, Jose, if you're going to sit under that tree, right, with those bare feet all the time, talking to us, at least make it entertaining. His producer started laughing. He goes, oh, I gotta hear this. Because he always gave a heck about being barefoot, always barefoot when he's sitting and talking to us. And I said, well, take some cheese with us, squirt it between your toes, take a little crack, while you're just sitting there talking about fish. He swore he was gonna do as an outtake. He laughed so hard he was crying. He said, yeah, people give me a heck about being barefoot all the time. We lost him, unfortunately, in that plane crash. That was horrible. But I grew up fishing with some of the best snook fishermen there were. I fished with Dave Justice. I fished with George Copeland down in Lauderdale. I fished with the Green Brothers in Sarasota. I fished with Earl Downey, who wrote the book, How to Fish for Snook. He's the guy that taught me. And I got hooked. And I honestly, I don't know how to do much else besides fish. That's it. That's why. What's that? I'm still hooked. I'm 60 years old and I'm still hooked. And I'll do it. People say, when are you going to retire? I'm like, retire. I'll retire when I can't walk to the boat anymore, or when I can't do it, and then I'll just go ahead and fall over, feed myself to the snook. My buddy Roger, when he was 90 years old, he said, Dave, if I go over, if I fall out because I'm fighting the big snookers, let me go. That's how I want to go. There was a gentleman named Lauren Perucci. I don't know if anybody remembers this. Lauren Perucci and I met up about 20 years ago, and we started snook fishing together. Now, Lauren he had the same southern draw that Roger had. He goes, I like catching snook. And I said, I heard you like catching snook. And we started fishing together. He showed me things, and I showed him things, and he showed me things, and I showed him things. We go out in the Skyway in his little yellow boat, bobbing up and down in those waves with that little fiberglass box. No pump. He just built a little fiberglass box between those little reverse seats, drilled holes in the bottom of the boat, and the motion of the boat rocking would aerate the live well. He'd had that thing blacked out with pinfish. Reach over, get another pinfish, and he'd slip it back underneath the bridge of Dick Meisner or the Skyway, and use that bank sinker and lift it up, let it go back a little more. Lift it up, let it go back a little more, and you go, ooh, he's getting nervous. Dave, he's getting nervous. Now sick him, Fido. Come on, sick him, Fido. But Fido's got him. And he set that hook, and he had those buggy whip rods, and they'd be bent over. And I introduced him to big heavy tackle and live lady fishing one night. And he was like 82 at the time. And he goes, now Dave, there's no snook when you eat this big damn things like that big. And I go, put it down there. And he goes, all right. I'm nervous, Dave. I'm a little scared. And he put it down there and he goes, oh, damn it, Dave, the damn thing's nervous. I give it a line, I was on. Boom. Boom. And he was straining. The reel was ripping drag. It's running under the bridge. He fought that thing for all it's worth. He got it in, and he goes, damn it, Dave, I've been snook fishing for over probably 65 years now. That's the biggest snook I ever caught. And it was like 37 pounds. And I got a picture of Lauren trying to hold it. He's just trying to hold it. And I got that, I think I got it on my phone maybe. But I miss that old duck. We lost him, he was 95. I took Lauren on his last snook fishing trip ever. He was 95 when I took him. 95 years old. He sat down, he hit the oxygen tank, he'd stand up, catch 5 or 6 more snook, sit down, hit the oxygen tank. You know what killed him? Melting his own lead. He made his own bank sinkers, and it turned his lungs black. But he lived to almost 96 years old. But the doggone melting his legs is what got him. That's what killed him. But he snook fished on the overnight boat out of Hubbard's till he was 94. Yeah. That's my inspiration right there. Dylan Hubbard doing a good job there, but they're doing a good job. But I remember growing up around, listening to Salty Saul Flashman, and you guys remember the Ernie Lee show? If you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too busy. That was Wilson Hubbard, and it was a great time, man, growing up fishing. But I love it. Who's the youngest person in here tonight? Who? How old? You're what? You're 14? 16? 17? You're 14. Damn it, man. You got 2 14-year-olds, 7-year-olds. That's awesome. I love it. Stick with fishing. Nothing better. If she tells you not to go fishing, you say, honey, you have a nice night. I'm gonna miss her. I get home. That's it. Oh, look at there. I got a bite. That's it. That's what I was. I went through women like crazy because they kept trying to stop me from fishing. I never got lucky enough to find one that liked to fish as much as I did. But, oh well, it is what it is. But, dang gummit, man. All right, well.
How about back when I was in high school in the 70s, everybody used to fish on the Skyway with the old kerosene lantern.
Yes, we would.
Nobody does that anymore.
No, the old Skyway Bridge, what you would do, you put a propane, the old kerosene lantern. Ada made the best one. They were made by Ada. They were the most powerful. And you would put the lid or a turkey aluminum pie pan. And you take these lanterns and you set them down about yay far off the water. Now, mind your tide, if it's coming in, you gotta lift them up a little. But you would put these lanterns down, put another lantern down, and all of a sudden the bait would show up. And the bait would show up. And the bait would show up. And all of a sudden the snook would show up. Or tarpon, or cobia. You only knew what you never knew what you were gonna get popping up. But sometimes they got to popping the glass minnows and bait under your lantern so hard that you can drop a bare hook in there and hook one on a bare hook. We did it on Gandy Bridge many times with the big 8-er lanterns. I still have 2 of those 8-er lanterns. I have my Calcutta cane pole. I have 2 of them. Calcutta cane pole is just a big Burma rod, and they're 18 feet long. And once a year, you put gloves on, you take linseed oil, and you coat them with linseed oil, and they'll never go bad on you. I think, Bruce, we got to bring them out this spring. You don't want to mess with them. I was suggesting we walk along like a seawall with a big Burma rod with a 20-inch ladyfish and see what happens. I always remember that Earl Downey was on a bridge with me one night, right there when you come into Terracea, that little flat one after the Skyway. We're on that bridge, it's about 2 in the morning, and a big old tarpon hit his ladyfish. And when it did, he tried to put it down like that, and he stepped on it. And when he stepped on it, the tarpon went that way, and of course it came up from under his heel. Oh! He's laying on the ground on 275 there, whatever they call that, and he goes, grab the pole, grab the pole. I come over and I grab it, and this thing jumps, and I just went, oh, let go. I let go. And about 2 seconds later, the fish spit it. I grabbed the spinner rod and flipped it out there and snagged the farmer rod. But Calcutta poles can hurt you. Make mental notes, written notes. What was the tide doing? What was the barometer doing? What was the solar table? Was the solar table, was it moon over, was it moon under, was it moon rise? Which way was the tide going? When all these fish were biting, and write those things down or memorize them, and you'll be on your way to catching a lot more snook. Daytime fishing is fine. I don't like it because I don't look 60 my skin. I mean, I've been this color for, I don't know, my whole life, but I don't remember ever being tan much. My buddies, I do daytime fishing. I did a lot of the Average Angler Adventures with Glenn Block. And during Halloween every year, you had me play Count Snookular. They had me dress up as a vampire. I was a fishing vampire trying to take over the fishery with snook baiting. And it was goofy, but we had a lot of fun. Anybody remember the Average Angler Adventures? One guy. It was a great show, and Bill Miller hooked on fishing. These are good stuff, but I wish they were back on. Well, if you guys have any questions, anything about snook fishing, fire away.
All right, I've been listening to talk about this man, that gentleman. It wasn't 20 years ago. That was that. Are some of you living on canals that got that direct sound from these last couple storm since about a year ago? We got hit hard last January. We got hit, November? And we just got that storm. I'm on a canal where I got that wind, that was, west side, not the east side, I think. But, my high tide, low tide, I'm sorry, seems to be high.
You think the tides are coming up higher?
I think a lot of garbage got blown up in these canals. The things that mankind's killed the last 2 years. We know how we love it.
Climate changes, that's for sure.
My canal, it is so mucky, it's a deep canal, but I think we got a lot of debris and sand.
All right, well, let's...
No big fish.
Will you just repeat her question so everybody can know what she's asking?
I'm not really sure. I think you're saying that the waters are going higher and there's more pollution?
No, I'm saying if you're in a canal this year, and your canal goes south, out of your canal, the last storm dragged a lot of sand, and that wind, it dragged into our canals.
Yeah?
And they're very mucky. You can't get bait fish off.
Oh, so your water quality's bad now.
The water quality is so bad.
Well, that had a lot to do with how much rain we had.
I think it's all one.
A lot of bad, and a lot of sewage been released.
Exactly.
A lot of blind mullet. Turtle heads. A lot of raw sewage that dumped into the water, unfortunately. All right, let's see here. Dave?
Dave, the beach.
The beach.
You say you fish in the summer on the beach.
Yes.
All of my friends from high school used to fish on the beach a lot. You're saying you want to get a bigger fish on the beach than the big ones out there?
They are, but your best time to fish the beach, really early in the morning, right when the sun's coming up, or right when the sun's going down. Now, the way to eliminate those little snooklets or snook, and go for the snook, is to get out there and get a bigger artificial bait, like a big swim bait, or a spool tag. Or if you can get a live whiting, about that big, that's a good bait.
They used to put their baits out and they'd fish from the beach, they'd walk the beach, wherever bait the bait would swim, they'd just walk the beach.
Follow it.
Follow it. They still do that?
Yeah, it still works. You can put a bait out and just follow with the tide, the rip tide, and let it go down the beach. But the trick with beach fishing, you're not throwing out. You're throwing parallel to the beach. Work your bait right along the last little, because the snooker's sitting there waiting for that last little wave to disorientate those bait, the sand fleet, whatever's in there. and they lay right there where it first drops, and it's like a little feeding station. Bridges, they're always gonna line up in the shadows next to the structure. Docks, a snook's like a dock bat. A dock light is like the moths around a street light, bats coming through. Well, snook's a dock bat. The lights bring the bugs, and the snook's the bat. And where a trout will pretty much hit anything you throw at him at a light at night. Redfish will pretty much, but a snook will study it. If it doesn't look right, you won't eat it. Using too big a hook, too heavy a leader, or you're too loud. Stealth is huge with snook fishing. I see people make so much noise.
What kind of music do you listen to when you?
I don't listen. Don't even have a radio on my boat. Never. Radios don't belong on the boat. But not in my world anyway. I don't. Music. You know, I see people thumping the cooler, dropping the lid, stumping. They got too many people on the boat. They got spotlights. They're shining. They're standing on the bank. This is my favorite one. They're standing on the bank, but they have 3 big, powerful sources of light behind them. So they're casting a silhouette right into the water where they're trying to catch fish. Why don't you just stand there with 2 flares in your hand going, "Don't eat here. Dumb person here." I mean, it's just like, what? You're casting a silhouette with that bright light behind you. If you want to put that bright light out on a float in front of you, that's great, but you don't want a bright light behind you. Or I like these guys that go to throw a cast net, but they got a light on their head, and they're walking around with a cast net, shining it in the water, getting ready to throw it for bait. Huh? Scare it away before you throw the net. That's brilliant. You walk out to a spot that you know is safe to throw a net, you walk up there really quiet, you don't have any light, and you throw the net. If you don't sit there with a spotlight on your head shining in the water that you're trying to throw a cast net into, that's just like, let's scare it off before we catch it. Rocket scientist. Sorry. It's not brain surgery catching snook, but it's common sense. Make mental notes, written notes, write down where you were, what you were using. Don't use buggy whips. This is a buggy whip. After I caught that 22-pound snook on this, Earl went, "Yeah, you're right, that's a little bit of a buggy whip. Go hang it on the wall and write your name on it." So I did. We rinsed it, and I hung it on the wall and never used it again. So it's caught one snook. I think I'm going to bring it out one night and see if I can break it. But I want to try it one more time before I will not use this lure. This is the first thing I ever caught a snook on.
It's got a stainless steel hook on it.
Yeah, and I will not throw this. This will come off before I ever use this rod again. But go where the fish are. Try to find one of the main tricks with snook fishing is being where the snook are and people aren't. You got to avoid the crowds. That's tough on the weekends. You know, I tell people all the time, snook fishing on weekends is like a Michelob commercial. Weekends, we're made for staying home. Weekends are not for fishing. Weeknights are for fishing. You go out on a Monday night with a good tide, and there's a really good Monday night football game on. Remind everybody about the great Monday night football game that's coming on. Because you go out there at like 10 o'clock at night, there's nobody on the water. You go out on a Saturday night on a holiday weekend and you're just asking for a cluster. It's not gonna work. Holiday weekends, Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July, I don't go near the water. I don't go anywhere near.
I think the first night we met each other and fished together was Thanksgiving. And it was, you could have shot a gun in any direction.
No.
And it wouldn't hit another piece of fiberglass. The water was ours. We fished from 6 p.m. we met. You got us go at sunrise.
How many we catch?
We got tired.
We got
Not from staying up all night.
Yeah, I can't even tell you how many nights taking charters out, we caught over 100 Sunday night, easily. My most I ever got one night was husband and wife, Kathy and John Riggins. They lived in Lutz. And we went down to Stump Pass on an outgoing tide. It was 2001, I believe, on a spring outgoing tide. And they got 233 snook with the boat counting. They were counting, she was counting them out loud, and she had one of those little goofy clickers. And after about 8 hours and 27 dozen shrimp, and we had 27 dozen shrimp, we ran out of shrimp, I ran out of artificial meat, they clicked off 233 snook, and she gave up around 170, she said her arm hurt. Now of those 233 snook that we got that night, 6 or 7 of them were over 30 pounds. They were in Ski Alley on an outgoing tide, hitting everything that moved. Every shrimp that came, boom, 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 boom. It sounded like Orville Redenbacher in a microwave on full song. That's back before all the red tide, before the freezes. It was just on fire. You could not put anything in the water and let it drift in past that night on the outgoing tide. It was a Monday night, and you couldn't put anything in there without getting a snook off. It was stupid. I said, this is the stupidest snook fishing I've ever seen. I mean, it was dumb easy. I've never seen that again. I have seen many, 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 many nights over 100 snook. But if you're interested in booking a trip, I'll give everybody, a member of this club, I'm here tonight, 15% off to any member. Just let me know. If you don't catch snook, you don't pay. You catch 5 snook, you ain't paying. That's a joke. That's a boat ride. A slow night, I get 20 snook. That's a slow trip, 20 snook. Anybody here tonight, get 50% off. If anybody's interested, I've got a bunch of cards up here. Well, I got a whole stack of cards if anybody wants to grab one. The hecklers up front, you want any? Just grab one and grab some and pass them around if anybody wants any. And what I like to do on my charters is, I want to have fun, I want to laugh, and I want to keep it light. But also there's a lot of stealth involved. I'll go, okay guys, we're going to move into this spot. We got some dock lights here. The dock light owners aren't the friendliest people, so we got to whisper. When you get around dock lights at night, the last thing you want to do is have a radio on. Have your loud buddy who's had too much to drink with you. Because if the owner of the dock hears you, they turn the lights off. You slide in there really, really quiet. You might use the anchor over. You might eat the GPS trolling motor. Slide in there, don't make any noise. Set up really, really quiet. And when you're sitting there, post it up against the tide. Make quiet. There's actually ways to make long casts really quiet. You can practice getting at long distances without making any whipping sounds. It really is. It's really strange, but it can work. But, if you don't catch snook, you don't pay. And a slow night's 20 snook. 15% off anybody here tonight. You'll have a good time with snook fishing. If you're coming to me for anything else, I have no knowledge. Nothing.
What time is that start time?
No, start time is an hour before dark. I want to get some daylight fishing in there for tides, right? I prefer, but if you can, let me pick the tides anyway, if you can. Because if we got a lousy 13, 14 hour incoming tide, I don't want to waste your time. I want a tide that's going, I want it to move. And I want to take you, now most of my fishing is Sarasota, South Englewood. I don't do Pinellas much anymore. I haven't done Pinellas since 2010. I come up here and fish for fun, but I don't guide up here. Because it's not the same, like Dennis said, it's not the same as it used to be. But if you don't mind driving down to Sarasota, Osprey, Englewood, you're going to catch average 40, 50 snook a trip easy. And there's nothing to it. But you can see I've kind of got a problem. I got snook shirts. Look at this belt. I got snook belts. Hold on, let me show you my underwear. No, I'm kidding. Snook underwear. No, I don't have snook underwear. The same guy that made me this shirt, this guy's from South Africa. He made me this shirt. He came fishing with me. He's like, dude, hold on. He made the shirt. I'm the only guy in the world that has snook shorts. And there's only 6 of these pairs ever been made. This is a size 36, $50 if anybody wants it. Because I wear the ones that tell everybody who I am. Not that I give a darn, or anyone else does either, but it says he made me 3 that didn't say the Mad Snooker, and two kids were at one of my seminars at Salt Strong a while ago, and I was wearing these, and they're like, oh, I gotta have those. I go, I said, they're 36s, I'll grow into them. But this is a 36, never been worn, but you'll be the only guy there's 6 pairs that have never been made. That's snook shorts. There you go. If you're hooked on snook, you want some snook shorts. But anywho, all right, who's got the best question? Yes, sir.
Dave, I don't really have a question.
Yes, sir.
You all remember, we started you
Yes.
And he is the day being charged for an hour. He went out of Dennis, went up to County and approached whatever. Anchored up and he said, we're not fishing yet. And he finally said start fishing. Probably about 8:30.
Yeah.
By 10:30, the crowd so tired, they didn't fish. He said, take us back to the resort.
They were so tired in 2.5 hours of catching snook after I said they're gonna start biting now. I have had that happen many, many times, and I think I do remember you, and it's been a while, but I've had many people just quit. They're like, dude, my arm's done. I'm done. They book a 6-hour trip, 4 hours into it, they can't fish anymore. But they were saying they had 2.5 hours, they caught some snook, they were done. That's cool. What's that? Pink. People ask me about pink. Why pink? I just love the color pink. I don't know why snook love pink. Pink is just a great color for snook, but if you're just fishing, pink's a great color. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
About how far off the
Off the beach, I'm only throwing like 10, 12 feet, 10 feet. Like right, they're in the trough. They're in that last trough right there at the beach. And if the closer you are to a pass, the better it's going to be. The closer you are to an inlet or a pass. That's going to be good. Yes, sir.
So a lot of the bigger snookers I'm talking about, they had like, you ever notice that? They had like marks on them, scars on them, where they have like lesions. Yeah. Right now they're starting to get big, you know, they got lesions.
That happens. They just beat up so long. And the bigger snook, the bigger the snook, the more his tail's all stuck. Oh my God. But
Good night.
Oh, yeah, he was asking if I use any side scanner or GPS or fish finder. Bruce, I don't have a GPS fish finder or side scan on my boat. I never have. I've never had a GPS on any of my boats or a fish finder. And people go, well, how do you know where all these snook are? How do you know where you're going? Well, if I get foggy and I can't see where I'm going, I got a GPS on my phone. But other than that, I use swag. The swag system, scientific wild ass guess. That's my swag system. Now, you get to know where these fish are hanging out. And after a while, you just get so used to it, you know their feeding stations and what to look for. Side scan's cool, but I don't really need it. I can tell if they're there by listening. I can see, I can listen, I can hear that. When the snook hits, you know that sound when they hit on the top one? It's incredible. Now when a snook hits a rattle trap, that is the hardest bait, artificial bait that will ever get hit. I don't think a snook hits a rattle trap because he's trying to eat it. I think it's like a mosquito. You gotta kill that damn thing. Well, here comes a rattle trap. The snook's laying there. What is that? I don't know, but if it comes by here again, I'm gonna kill it. They hit him so hard. Try a rattle trap. Rattle traps are great for snook, but yeah, oh man, rattle traps, I mean, bam! You can hear them coming 20 feet up, 20 feet away, you hear them. They drive snook nuts. Yeah, rattle traps. But if you're gonna use a treble hook, crush the barbs flat. Crush the barbs flat on the treble hook because it makes it so much easier on the hook. And be kind to your snook. Release them. LDR is, whatever that is. Look at the camera.
give that information?
Which one? Oh, this one? Oh, yes, okay, you got it, I'm looking at the camera. This is, Captain Dave Pomerleau, and my website is madsnooker.com, and my phone number is 727-570-9711, Facebook under Dave Pomerleau, or the Mad Snooker. And, did I get it? All right, there's the camera. Hi, Cam. I appreciate you guys putting up with me. I know I'm a little goofy. Anybody wants a 36 Snook short? I got one pair available. That's it. $50 a year because that's what I pay for them. And what do you think? You think we're gonna, Dennis? You think we're gonna go out
I
tonight?
keep looking at the radar, and
If
if you got them, I got them.
it's sketchy, we'll talk about it. Dennis and I are talking about talking about doing some stuff fishing tonight. And
Mr. Curry wants to know.
you guys see what the weather's doing here tonight, but this was sketchy. But I appreciate you guys. What a great group.
The Mad Snooker, everybody. Thank you for coming out. Got another one right here. Great job.
Sorry, I was a little goofy.
Yeah, you're great. It was fantastic. One of the best speakers we've ever had.